Life happens from us and not to us. There are only decisions and there are only lessons. Don't let the fear of making a wrong decision stop you from making a decision. That is not living. Ich bin Mark, and I've packed up my life here in Sydney, Australia to go on a study abroad trip for 6 months in Berlin. Why? Well, why not? So this is the documentation of my personal growth, my business growth, and my experience in a new country, building international friendships, building my business, and creating the life I've envisioned to have. I had so much to do before leaving. Many things felt pretty chaotic: work deadlines, cleaning, leasing my car, packing, and seeing my friends and family before I go. So for the past month and a half, I'm trying to adjust into Berlin. It's been crazy. So many things that have been different from my life in Australia, and so many new things. And I think that's the important thing about coming to a new country is, I think it's so important, challenging what you think you know with things that are actually happening around the world. And if you're not actually there to live it, then how can you actually experience it and understand other people from around the world? This is just me freestyling now, but honestly, life has been pretty hectic here, managing so many things from a long distance relationship to meeting new friends to the business I'm starting and focusing my energy towards that, while also playing with the nature of Berlin being a very party-centric city, the people around me wanting to go out all the time, me also going to university here to study marketing, and just the combination of all these different things causes like a bit of a stressful environment. And if I'm not putting my time appropriately to the things I need to do, then I'm finding I'm getting confused, my time is being used up. I almost went to drink this candle. I wonder if the flickering is going to be actually really bad. Let's put this away. And I was starting to get a bit lost. I think Berlin has so many beautiful things to offer, and I had the opportunity to experience a bit of the warmer weather here, which was really nice. It was really nice to just come from a cold Aussie winter to a bit of a warmer Euro entrance, and we got to see a bit of the nicer side of Berlin in the sense of the social activities. There's so many things to do. People are always holding events, people are going out with their friends. There are many cultural differences that I experienced here, all the way from cars being on the other side of the street to the shops being shut on Sundays and people actually going out and living instead of constantly hustling or struggling to find things to do. Like I felt in Sydney, that was one thing I struggled to do. Too many events on or things to do for people my age. Maybe that was just who I am and maybe my personal experience in Sydney. Anyways, all the way from those small trivial things to just junkies wandering the streets and screaming, a bit like a GTA landing lobby. My balance for life and business was very off. I have accommodation in a student dorm, which is cheap, and it was easier than finding an apartment while in Australia. But far out, it was pretty horrendous when we came. The toilets were just disastrous. There was black mold in the bottom of the toilets. There was mold in the showers. The floors were dirty, full of dirt, like someone had stepped in mud and just swiped it through. There was dust everywhere, and that was just like the shared space. Next, in my room, it was dusty. It's quite small, which I've learned to appreciate and really enjoy. I'll show the setup a bit later on. I pulled out the tish from the wall and oh my goodness, my biggest fear, hair. There was dust, there was old nail clippings, tissues, whatever there was, some blood on the wall too. And I was just thinking, what the fuck? How am I gonna live here for the next 6 months? So my roommates and I that are here, we spent a good 2 days deep cleaning the place, bleaching the bathroom, hot water, just getting it into shape. And honestly, that first couple of days that I was here, I was so uncomfortable. This place was bare, we had to buy everything, so love IKEA. We went there, we spent money that I didn't think I'd be spending just to fit out the place. I didn't expect it, but it's part of it and part of making it more homey, more of a vibe. So yeah, I think it was hard for me at the beginning because I had some expectations of what my life was going to look like here, and it not living up to that expectation was something I didn't expect, and it really challenged how I approached the problem. Instead of, spending a bit more money to go find something else, I'm just sticking it out here, and honestly, it's been really good. I mean, the community here is fantastic. I'm with the other students and have a cheap place. I mean, it's cheap, it's a great location, and I can spend that money in investing in my business and doing other things that I want to do while in Europe. Honestly, my first week here, the first kind of 2 weeks, I was partying a lot, I was going out. Maybe some would say getting out of my system, but I just think there was this level where I just wasn't controlling myself. I was kind of valuing trying to, this trauma to fit in and to be accepted in a new place especially. Also, this has been my first time out of home, and with all these extra new expenses setting up my content creation business, it's been a very, very interesting learning curve, especially having to manage my finances properly with the cost of living and the extra money that I've budgeted versus what I'm actually spending. But I mean, these are all the things that I think life is about, and I think what being here is about. For me, I think it's a massive learning experience of myself, and we're starting many things. We're challenging myself. We're facing the uncomfortable truth about, I guess, who I am and what I'm learning here, and of course, the greater goal to create a successful business, learn and finish some of my studies here, and to network, make new friends, and form international networks. And it's truly a blessing. I think I need to be really grateful for the situation that I'm in, because it allows me to invest this money into my travel, invest it into my business experiences and my friends here. And to be honest, it doesn't really matter at all. I mean, it's only how I perceive it. And I know it's temporary, and there's no real need to sweat the small stuff like this. These things are all just part of my story, and it's actually a blessing because you guys really get to see the fucking low, and where I am now in this 4 meter by 2.5 meter little room. And although things here might not be as glamorous compared to my friends, peers, and the other lifestyles that I am being around at the moment, but that also I think is very beautiful, and I'm glad that I can be honest about it, because I think that I really struggled with how I'd be perceived, and through what my mentor has told me and the things that I want to do and the people that I'm going to meet, I think authenticity is one of the most important things. And I think if I'm trying to, before I was trying to have perceived that my lifestyle was amazing. I had nice cars around me, nice people, fancy dinners, good locations, but yes, sometimes that is part of my lifestyle. But I think in reality, most of us are out here just working, and we're just trying to get shit done. And I think it's a piece of us, but it's not everything. And I really want to just showcase the reality, because I thought it was so unattainable before, and I always dreamed of having a certain life. I think many of us do, but most of us don't know how to start. And I think everyone thinks it's easier than it is, or too hard that they don't want to start. And these are the learnings, the challenges, the issues, the solutions that we have that I just want to show you and share with you during this journey here. We had to uproot the whole business in Australia and pretty much start from scratch here in Europe. So many things to come. I mean, we just got our first client, which is absolutely fantastic, and we're going to be flying to Spain in November for this. So I'll keep you guys in the loop, because that's only in 2 weeks' time. I also discovered and realized that I was still reaching for the highs of a recent Croatia trip for 982. It was a mastermind with such high energy, high-driven entrepreneurial people who are already successful in the space. And me being someone who was new to the space, it was kind of daunting being around people with success already. But being there, I really realized that they're just human. And although they were very successful, there's reason for that. And I think spending a good week with them was something that helped me to realize that I can still be myself. I didn't need to try to fake who I was or try to one-up people, because no one was doing that there. People were there to learn from each other, to network, to make friends. And I think that that was such a beautiful thing that I got to experience. But coming back here, it was very hard, because now being away from all these people and the lifestyle, back into reality, back into the trenches, it was so disheartening, and this sense of motivation that I was scraping at the walls to try to get back to. And I never spoke about this with myself, but I think identifying this has really helped me to be just aware, to monitor how I feel and to correct myself when I feel like I'm straying off the track. I remember seeing a video about stacking wins and building motivation, and it needs to start from a small place and it needs to build up over time. And I'm always a go hard or go home person. I'm a bit impatient and I do want it now. And I think all the times I've tried to go from 0 to 100, first of all, there are too many steps in between to try and do anything to actually get there. So I would get disheartened and I would move to the next thing because it was an exciting idea. Whereas if I just stuck with one thing and just stayed with it over the years, I mean, of course, we're going to be in a completely different situation now. But because that's not really it, we need to put in different procedures, I guess, into my life to build up that motivation and have that discipline to keep going. And so, because my motivation was so much lower and there were so many things that I wanted to do, I just spent my time thinking about why I was in this rut, thinking about what I needed to do instead of actually taking action and doing it. When I was trying to go find people and grow relationships or try to cling to people or find something that was comfortable so I wouldn't feel alone, was very interesting to me. And sometimes it was me fostering the wrong relationships and spending time in places where I shouldn't have been, compared to coming back and working on business, working on my plan, and working on strategy, working on client outreach. And that's why things haven't been actioned as quickly, and that's why I guess I'm still in a bit of a treading water situation, because we haven't been focusing on the right things. I think it's important to still have these experiences momentarily, and it served as a reminder for what I don't like or I like, instead of just thinking in my mind, oh, what are they doing? Or, oh, I wish I did that. I think it really puts into perspective when you do something and you feel the emotions of why you're doing it at the time, and the thoughts of if you enjoy it or not. I think importantly, it brought value to the forefront of my mind of why I'm here and what I want to do while I'm here. I was speaking to some friends and we're really talking about how it's important to build the momentum. Start slow, start with small challenges, just to kind of get yourself in the creative problem-solving mindset, to set goals that are high and are achievable, but they're not too achievable, so it feels good when you are completing the goals, so things don't feel like an uphill battle every day. And I think when here, I would just punish myself. I'd maybe go out one night and I'd come back and not do the things that I set out to do. For example, I was meant to make this video 1.5 months ago, my first week here in Berlin. And I think because things got so hectic, I kept pushing it back, and something else would come up one week and something else would come up, and I'd just keep pushing back this video. It was meant to be 1 video a week while I was here, and currently we should have produced 7 already, and we're just working on our first one. So my goal for the month ahead is split into 2 things. We're splitting into the lifestyle and business goals. On the lifestyle side of things, I want to maintain my daily routine, which is waking up, writing 5 gratitude items before getting on my phone, a cold shower in the morning, 10 minutes of Wim Hof breathing, sweating, so going to the gym or riding a bike, to keep on top of my uni work, and to continue to travel during my time here in Europe. My number 1 business goal at the moment, really focus on client outreach. We'll be doing this by focusing on a cold lead approach. We're going to really look at email outreach. It's going to play around with some systems to collect emails, to automate a sequence so we can get as many emails out there to potential clients where we can actually provide them value. We'll also do direct DMs as well on Instagram and LinkedIn. For more warmer leads, we'll use our personal brand to reach out to clientele around Europe to try source more clients. So this has been almost 2 months and a long time coming in Berlin, and I'll see you next Sunday. I'm really proud of you, Mark. You sat down, you wanted to sleep, but you got your shit together and you went and you filmed this video. I hope when you look back at this in the future that you remember that you just need to keep taking action and get out of your head for the excuses that we make. We really need to get this YouTube video out. We're going to just put it out no matter how we think we look or how we feel, even if the audio will sound fine, but if the dialogue isn't as fantastic, it's okay. We'll still put it out and we will just start. You know, we could have had 7 iterations by now, but we only have 1 because we kept putting it off. We kept finding things to make excuses to why we couldn't put out a YouTube video. We broke 2 promises because we told people we'd put up videos. We have kept 1 to John. He's put up a YouTube video, and now it's our turn.